I have been terrified to launch every single product or service I have ever launched. So I made the process super easy for myself. I write a doc, I send it, and it works. And this method of starting has brought in over $900,000 over the past 5 years for me. And I know the reason you've been procrastinating starting a business is because you're waiting for the perfect time. You have the branding, the logo, everything looks amazing, and you feel totally qualified to do it. You think that you need to have everything under the sun completed, and that is what's standing in the way between you and making your first dollar in your business. In reality, the only thing that's standing in your way and making your first dollar can be a doc. So there's 6 things that I always put in every single document. So here's an example of an offer that my video editor, Maya, and I launched this year. We just detailed out the offer in a document and we sent that, and that resulted in over 5K in just the beta launch. And I have to shout out my most successful doc ever, which was the doc that I used to launch the beta round of my signature program back in 2020. I signed 42 paid beta students, and that business went on to generate almost $900,000 since 2020. So the very first thing, I've already alluded to this, oh, that was a big word, alluded, is it is so important that you illustrate what the painful problem is. And secretly, I have a theory that a lot of times people get stuck in business not making money because they're not really clear on what problem they're solving. They know what the offer is, they know what's included in the thing that they're selling, they know all of the product features, they know all the details, but they don't really know what the painful problem is that they are helping somebody solve. Business does not ever start with a perfect funnel. It starts when you solve a problem and you ask to be paid. Business at its core is systematized problem solving, and I think when you get lost in all this other sauce, you forget that. You forget that what you're supposed to be doing is solving a problem and then systematize solving that problem for people. So a sale happens when there's trust that a specific solution you have is the right one to solve their problem. People give you money, and this is so important. Just keep this in mind. This is the only thing you really need to focus on. You don't need to focus on all these other things that you think you need. People give you money when you solve a big enough problem for them, when they understand how you solve it for them, so they get it, and they believe that you can solve it. So you never start with the offer. You never start with the features. You start with their problem and build up to your offer at the end of the document. Where they're at is in their problem. They are in the, oh my gosh, I hate this, I want to fix something. So you need to meet them exactly there. You need to be like, I know where you're at. We want to give them this moment of like, oh my gosh, this person's in my brain. How do they know exactly what this feels like and what it looks like and what it smells like and what it sounds like? And don't worry, we'll do examples. So your job here in this first section of your offer doc is to call out the real problem, not just the surface symptoms. Use specific lived-in language to show them that you actually do get it. And I cannot say this enough, it's your job to be deeply empathetic. I think empathy is actually one of the biggest underrated superpowers in business, because writing an offer that sells isn't about building up hype or flashing how fancy your new product or service is. It's about making someone feel safe enough to say yes to giving you money. Examples. This is from my latest offer doc, which is a service, which is a new service. I know, it's very scary. For a YouTube strategy consulting service. I know, I'm scared. I don't want to tell you guys. Okay, here's the examples. Hi, welcome to my brand new YouTube offer. I'm so excited you're here. Where you probably are right now, I'm intimately familiar with that place because I have been deep in suffering land of YouTube, of like, I am pouring hours and hours and hours, tons of money into this YouTube channel. It is not working. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I feel like I'm trying my best. I feel like the content is the best I can think of to do it. And it's so frustrating. Again, go to that empathy of like how frustrating it is to have this problem that you're trying to solve for. I remember that fear, that pain, that overwhelm, that stuckness, the lack of motivation so deeply. I have pictures of me crying about YouTube in my phone. I've had strategists tell me to my face, like, this is not good enough, your thumbnails are not good enough, your titles aren't good enough. And I don't want to see any comments in the comment section saying, Dea, I don't know what the problem is. Dea, how do I deeply know the problem? Go talk to the person who has the problem and ask them questions. Really listen to them, take notes, and hear what they are saying. All right, so that's the first part of the offer doc. And the next part of the offer doc, I think sometimes people forget, for me, is the why do they actually have this problem section. AKA, what is the misconceptions that they have? What did nobody tell them? And they just don't know what they don't know. A lot of times when people are deep in their problem, they also have a lot of layers of guilt and shame on top of that problem, right? Like, for example, for me, when I was like really struggling with YouTube, I was like, oh, it's because I'm not good enough at YouTube. It's because I'm not good enough on camera. And it's almost partly your job to start relieving some of that shame and guilt. And a good way to do that is by highlighting what the actual misconception is that is creating this problem that they have. So what's not currently working for them is the symptom that they feel every day. But why it's not working, that is the false belief and misconception underneath that is actually creating the problem, right? So the point is not just to highlight, oh, you have this problem, you're not getting views on YouTube, you're not getting clients, you're not making money with your business. The point is to show the misdiagnosis as well. And you're revealing the cost of the misdiagnosis. So the loss of time, energy, money, motivation, frustration, all of these things, right? So in my offer doc for my YouTube strategy service, I essentially then go into a section where I'm like, I made 80 plus videos before truly understanding the 3 big misconceptions and problems with YouTube and my understanding of YouTube, right? Number 1, problem is that I did not generate enough ideas. I didn't have enough ideation volume for videos. Number 2, my packaging was just not good enough. You can scroll back on my YouTube and you'll see. Third problem is I was prioritizing quantity over quality, which I think worked in the beginning, but at some point I think you have to switch. And then I go to say, understanding these 3 things is really what made the difference for me and started my growth, right? So let's talk about these problems. And then I dive into each of these actual misconceptions or problems that they have. So your job essentially in this section is to shift from their problem to the root cause. What is actually the root cause that is creating this problem? Let's say you're a graphic designer and your ideal client's problem is that they are not signing any clients off of their website. Right? So you might be like, the problem is you're not getting clients, you're not making the revenue that you want. And then you can say, actually, the root cause of that is your website presence does not show a polished, professional look, which means that the client is already perceiving that maybe the experience is not going to be as high touch as it actually is. So potentially hiring a designer to spruce up the outside so it matches how high touch and high level the inside is the solution to that problem that they did not realize that they had. So here we really want to show them the misconceptions, and essentially we want to help them have a realization through our document and make them feel smart for realizing something new. It's almost like we want to teach them something that they'll remember even if they don't buy. That's very important. It's like always give before you try to get, because not only does that create, again, a trusting relationship because you're giving without the incentive of like pay me first, but 2, I think it also establishes a lot of credibility that you know what you're talking about. If you gatekeep all of your knowledge, all of your expertise, all the ways you can help behind a paywall, then they have no way of experiencing how good you are at whatever you are doing until they pay. And that's a big risk for them to take if they haven't had a demonstration of how good you are at what you do. This video is sponsored by Framer. Every business begins with a dream, with just one idea, and mine began trapped in a sad little document with no layout, no color, Arial font size 11. And one day, it appeared. An email, a whisper in the dark, a promise of a glow-up. It was an email from Framer, an invitation for a makeover. I opened Framer's brand new wireframer tool, their AI-powered layout assistant. No blank page syndrome here. No, where do I even start? Wireframer built me a starter layout in seconds. Sections, buttons, hero image. She was having her makeover moment. She tried a bunch of outfits on. She flirted with bold sans serif. She dabbled in neutrals. She tried minimalism. And in the end, she chose this. Cute, playful, fun. The glasses were off. Final touch of lip gloss. The lighting was perfect. She was ready. She's published. She's beautiful. She's not just an idea anymore. She's a landing page with a purpose. From ugly duckling dog to beautiful website. You were always beautiful. We just needed Framer to show you. This video was sponsored by Framer. If you want to turn your offers or ideas into beautiful websites, sales pages, landing pages without having to stare at a blank page because that's super overwhelming, or complicated text setup because who needs that, then check out Framer. Thank you so much for watching my videos so brands like Framer even care to reach out to me. And as a special bonus little secret surprise for all of you who are still watching, we made a free template version of this doc and I'll link it down below. No email opt-in required. We're friends now. You don't have to give me your email. So thank you, Framer, and thank you most importantly to you. All right, the next thing I go into in my document is the core desires. So this is what they actually want. So your job at this point is to go one layer deeper than the obvious stuff. We really want to know what is driving them. And you kind of want to dig. You want to like dig. The first thing they tell you is like, I want money, right? We all want money, but what's the core desire? You want the money to buy your freedom, to spend more time with family and friends, to retire early. So you want to essentially name the true underlying motivation that feels honest and maybe is a little bit vulnerable. And this might be an opportunity to get vulnerable as well, to say like, I'm not sure about you, but my core desire, what motivates me above all else is my family or my cats and making sure they live happy, comfortable lives and they can sleep 14 hours a day in the middle of the work week. Something that can potentially establish a connection. So we want to make them feel seen, not sold to. So I literally have a section in my document that is what you probably want, because I don't want to be like, this is what you want. I want to be like, this is probably what you want, but I don't want to tell you what you want. You know what I mean? My offer for context is for business owners. So I say, I know you don't really care about views, you care about conversions, but you know how to convert your people, you know how to monetize. So the views are what it comes down to. Getting the attention, aka getting the click, and maintaining the attention. And I tell, again, a little bit of education of like what that takes, right? And I write, my belief is that the only business owners who will succeed moving forward are the people who can do the job of both, getting and keeping attention and monetizing. I think most business owners know how to do two very well, but not one. And most content creators know how to do one well, but not two. So that's why I think being deeply empathetic is so important, because if I had just written a long blurb about like, oh, you want views and this is how you get views, a business owner might be sitting there thinking, oh, but I don't actually care about views. Like that's not really what it's about for me. For me, it's about conversions. All right, the next section of my document is always why you. This is very important. What do you bring to the table? And I don't want to hear anybody in the comments saying, Daya, I don't have experience, Daya, I don't have skills, so why me? Everyone started as a baby with no skills, no experience at one point in time. You can definitely learn new skills, new experience, and there are lots of things that you can bring to the table that don't include work experience. Often business owners don't really need you to know how to do everything better than they do. They just need a second set of hands. They just need your time to do the things that they don't have time to do. But just think in the three key resources that we all care about: time, money, energy. How can you help someone save time, save money, or save energy on their end? So in this section, we want to show real evidence that you understand the issue. We want to avoid ego. We want to avoid, my biggest pet peeve, vagueness. Oh, I'm really good at communication. I'm a team player. Okay, who isn't? Everyone says that. That is not specific enough for you to establish credibility with those words. Be specific, be visual, be quantified. So use natural, conversational, honest language. Show you're a real human being and why you care about solving this problem for them. So for example, for me, I have a section in the document that's like why I want to help you with YouTube. And I share like, I've spent the past 15 years watching YouTube videos. I spent the past X years intensively studying, investing tens of thousands into learning about YouTube content creation. And also, this is a very real human being thing to say, right? I love YouTube. I think about YouTube every single day. It's one of the few topics I can talk about for hours and hours and hours. I've talked about YouTube to all my business friends. It is so true, so much that they're like, Daya, you need to just offer this to somebody else and get paid for it so we don't have to talk about it all the time anymore. And then I have a who am I section, right? I'm a business owner who was burned by paid ads one too many times. Again, I know the issues. And then, of course, I establish credibility. I show the results that it has driven for my business. I show the results that it has driven not just for my business, but all these other side perks that YouTube brought me that I didn't realize it would bring me, right? Establishing credibility. And of course, also fat testimonials. As many fat testimonials as you can get into the document, the better. And if you're like, Dang, I don't have any testimonials, for sure you can ask somebody that you have worked with before. And if you are a fresh baby with zero work experience, you can do something for free for somebody one time in exchange for a testimonial, or charge them a super cheap rate to get that first testimonial. I know it's overwhelming, but don't worry. If you take it step by step, you will get to somewhere cool. Just take it step by step and don't overwhelm yourself by saying, oh my gosh, I don't have these a million things, so I can't begin. That's the most important thing I want this video to say is you can begin where you are now. Actually, that's a good point. This fat testimonial that you see is from my friend May, who I helped with YouTube strategy for free. Actually, that's the point. All right, the next thing in the document is now it's time. Now it's time to get to what exactly the offer is. You see how it we did the 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting to what the offer is. Because the goal here is we want them to be crystal clear. I know what I'm getting, how it works, when it happens, what happens if something goes wrong. We want to give them all of the clarity, right? Remove ambiguity. so they understand exactly what they're paying for and the scope of what they're paying for. My biggest pet peeve in the world is when somebody uses super vague language in the offer. They're like, you're gonna get my support to help your dreams come true. What support? When? Where? How do I get it? So for example, for me, for this offer doc, I'm like, what this offer is. This offer is one-on-one Voxer access to me, specifically for business owners looking to make YouTube work for their business. And here are all the things we can talk about. We want to also help them envision the offer a little bit. Like, what can they use it for? What will it actually be like to work with you? Again, clarity, right? I'm happy to share my ideation grading matrix. I can walk you through exactly how I think about which ideas have more potential than others. We can talk about packaging, and then I go into detail about also the boundaries of this offer. When I check Voxer, how many times I check it, limits to the amount of time that you can send me voice messages in, office hours. Obviously, not only is this clarity incredible for you because it protects you from somebody being like, oh, I thought I would just have 24/7 access to book calls with you whenever I wanted. But it also shows the client that you are a professional who knows what they're doing and understands what the offer actually is. And then we go into the what now section, right? And we want the clarity to come through again here. The goal is that they know, I know what to do next, and I know if I'm a fit for this, right? So your job is to give them one action step. And also for me, I like to just define my minimum standard again, not to repel people, but to clarify who the offer is best fit for, because I think this again shows the integrity and shows you care about serving the right person to be like who this is for and who this is not for. So in my doc, I have, this is a highly selective offer and invite. I'm only sending it to business owners who check these boxes specifically. This is not for beginners. This is for people who are already doing it basically, because these are the only people I can truly help. Questions, let me know. If you're in, send me your channel link via whatever, Instagram, and I'll have a look and see if I see any lost potential that I can potentially help with. And I think that's something else you can consider doing is instead of sending them directly to an order form, it kind of depends on what the offer is. For me, this offer specifically, sometimes I send them directly to an order form, but this offer specifically, I was like, I also want to make sure that I can help them. So I want to see the channel link before they just purchase. And then I'm like, actually, you're not a fit, right? So now, I want to give you something very important. It is a permission slip. This is all I could find right now. It is a permission slip that says, no business starts perfectly and with all its products, assets, workflows, systems, traffic sources, all sorted out. Your business does not have to be perfect to be profitable. The game starts when you press send on a doc, not when everything's perfect. So please just start. Try to start this way first. Here's the permission slip. Take it. Take it. Take it. It's for you. All right, this video is going to be really helpful coming up because it gives you a daily checklist of how to get your business from $0 to 100K a year. And it starts exactly with this document as well. So it fits perfectly into that checklist. You can go check it out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Okay.